What is happening there, citizens of the Reject Nation? We're here to watch The Last of Us, episode 3 today. That's 3 and 3 combined. And of course, joining me today, a man who I love dearly. Talk about Last of Us together all the time. Andrew Gordon, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks, and love you too, buddy. Thank you.
Give this man a follow. Ladies and gentlemen, it would mean the world right now if you could leave a like. Leave a like to show your support for The Last of Us. Also, subscribe and click that notification bell to get notified when our reaction is up for the next episode of this show. As always, full interaction watch-alongs where you sync up with your own copy of Last of Us, available for our super sexy rejects. That's our patrons over at our Patreon page. Of course, cover several things over there exclusively with reaction highlights and watch-alongs included. And we launched a website recently. Be easier for patrons to navigate all of our posts that we have over there. As a reminder, John and Tara's reaction for this episode will go up in just a couple of days. They haven't played the game. That's the non-gamer reactions, and people have been really enjoying those too. The last thing, though, you guys might notice in most of the videos, you'll probably see me drinking something like this, a G Fuel can, because I reached out to G Fuel a while ago because I love their product, and I've always seen these YouTubers constantly promoting G Fuel, and I was like, what the heck? I actually use your stuff all the time. Can I work with you? And they said yes. So yeah, guys, if you want something that keeps you able to go through the long hours of the day and helps keep you sharp and focused and energized and also not crash, G Fuel. Thank you, G Fuel, for working with moi, a proud customer. Hey guys, I'm going to show you our reaction in just a second, but I wanted to pop in here real quick because as I was prepping this video, I learned the really sad and unfortunate news that Annie Wersching, who plays Tess in the Last of Us video game, she passed away at the age of 45. That is just way too young to go. She's phenomenal in the video game, but she also has like a wide range of other work throughout the years. So firstly, I just want to say, Annie, thank you for the fantastic artistic contribution that you have gifted us with through all this time. And to my understanding, she left behind a husband and 3 boys. Right now there's a GoFundMe that's been set up where all contributions will go to her family. So I have put the GoFundMe in the description box if you wish to donate. Yeah, it's a real unfortunate passing, but thank you, Annie, for everything that you gave us, and rest in peace, and thoughts and prayers with your family.
Look, I've been thinking about...
I want your sorries.
I wasn't gonna say I'm sorry. Nobody made you or Tess take me. Nobody made you go along with this plan. Don't blame me for something that isn't my fault.
You're speaking truths right now.
Love how smart she is. Good change.
Yeah, it's interesting to add that on.
Oh, the music straight out of the game. Love it.
I love this shot, that reflection.
Yeah, oh, didn't even notice that.
How'd you get that scar on your head? What, is it something lame? Like you fell down the stairs or something?
Someone shot at me and missed.
See, that's cool. You get him?
No, I missed too. It happens more often than you think.
Do you suck at shooting or like in general?
In general.
That is such good chemistry.
Lean back a minute. I gotta grab some stuff I stashed.
Oh.
Go grab supplies.
Check all the drawers, check for notes, check for tools.
No way. You ever play this one?
Mortal Kombat.
The second one.
There's this one character named Melina. She has monster teeth, and then she swallows you whole and barfs out your bones.
I could never figure out how to do that. That was similar to the game, but it was a different game. Angel Knives, I believe it was called.
Is there anything bad in here?
Just you.
Getting funnier.
They're back and forth. It sounds so much like them.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't go down there alone.
Yes, seriously.
Ellie, or as Andrew calls her, Belly. Lockers.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Is that a stalker?
Oh!
Oh, goodness. Oh, it's trapped. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
Still makes it scary. Getting that close, it's like, wow, so close to clicker stage.
Trying to see if she is capable of killing it. Oh, what you doing, homie? Oh, that's pretty cool. Whoa!
Yeah.
That would be the first one she ever killed, right?
On the show, yeah, I believe so.
There we go.
Already in protective mode. I love it.
Picked over my ass.
Not much ammo out there for this thing. Makes it mostly useless.
Well, if you're just gonna leave it there.
Be way too heavy for you to just carry around, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that thing weighs more than you.
You flying one of those?
Whoa!
Get shoved into a middle seat, pay $12 for a sandwich.
Dude, you got to go up in the sky.
That is something we take for granted.
How did it even start? If you have to get bit to be infected, then who bit the first person?
He's like, go look up Wikipedia.
I thought you went to school.
Federal school? Teaches how their shitty government failed to prevent a pandemic.
Oh.
Some of it got into the food supply. Probably a basic ingredient like flour or sugar.
Yep.
There were certain brands of food that were sold everywhere, all across the country. Bread, cereal, pancake mix.
Atkins diet, man.
Thank you, Atkins.
Yeah, that's right.
So the tainted food all hits the store shelves around the same time Thursday evening. They got worse.
And they're really giving us the whole backstory here.
Makes more sense than monkeys.
The monkey references the game.
Oof. Whoa, Judgment Day.
Told you were going to a QZ, and you were, if there was room. If there wasn't,
That sucks.
I killed him.
Prevention.
dead people can't be infected.
Oh, wow.
Ah, so our prologue is midlog.
Yeah. Is that Bill?
Possibly.
Looked like Nick Offerman.
Not today, you New World Order jackboot.
Yeah, I'd say that's him. The magazines, I love it.
Damn, so Bill was like always prepared for a scenario like this.
The masks.
I know.
If we don't get spores, we at least get a mask scene.
Oh, this is so cool. We're getting this entire backstory.
It's going to give us a sense of who Bill is before we actually see them meet him, so it's good.
Freedom! I can do whatever I want.
The town is mine.
Yeah, someone who embraces the apocalypse. That's funny.
Resourceful Bill.
Nick Offerman is perfect for this character. He is perfect.
Such a cool montage.
He's a guy who embraces his solitude.
He's been waiting for this day forever.
No, he's like, this is his haven.
Yeah, the wrench. He just looks straight up just like Bill. I love it.
There's an empty seat there, though, Bill.
Oh.
Keep coming.
Oh, he's got traps.
Oh!
Yes. That reaction was the best.
I know.
It doesn't get old.
Like, let me just have another bite of steak.
Oh, he is perfect.
Oh, yeah. He captures Bill perfectly for sure. Ah.
This is great. You barely get to explore Bill in the game.
Oh,
this is-
yeah, you
and I'm-
really
and
don't
This
know
really
Bill,
feels like
yeah.
this really feels like it's canon to what's in the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Built Jurassic Park at his place.
Yeah.
I'm not infected.
Are you armed?
Is this
Is this how they met?
No,
Why did you take that long to answer?
I thought about lying for some reason, but I'm just trying to get to Boston.
Did it hurt?
It's just a bruise.
Yeah, all those flies.
Letting down the ladder. I love it.
You just had that ladder right nearby.
Green means go.
Haven't eaten in 2 days.
I'm letting you go, so go.
First, my name's Frank.
Oh, yeah?
Nice to meet you, Frank.
If I feed you, then every bum you talk to about it is going to show up here looking for a free lunch. And this is not an Arby's.
Uh-huh.
Well, Arby's didn't have free lunch. It was a restaurant.
It's got to be a romance between them. Yeah,
sure
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, it has to be.
It is. It was even hinted at.
It was hinted at, but it was never explicit. Let's take a peek in there.
Thank you. This is amazing.
It's nice to see the softer, nicer side of Bill.
Yeah, I mean, he's been lonely for 4 years. You know, they're all wearing flannel. I'm gonna put my flannel on. He looks so happy. He hasn't had a real home-cooked meal in years.
It's like, this is better than Arby's. Haha.
What the fuck?
The elegance. You got you a little nervous, huh? Yeah, I want you to have some more wine. Yeah. Ooh, hair back.
So I guess I'll be going then.
Oh.
But first, I've been staring at this the whole time. Is it antique?
Hmm.
You know how much these are worth?
Currently nothing.
That was such a perfect delivery.
These aren't yours.
My mother's. Could you not?
This is you.
It's like the game. He doesn't like anyone touching his stuff.
And then I'll leave.
I like him a lot.
Love will abide.
Nick Offerman, you're perfect.
Take things in stride. But there's no one at my side.
Apt lyrics.
I'll love you for a long, long time.
That's beautiful.
It was.
So, who's the girl?
There is no girl.
Yes. Oh. Wow, this is beautiful.
What's your name, Bill?
Oh.
Go take a shower, Bill.
Wow.
They just haven't felt love in so long. You can really feel that. That was really beautiful. How dare the camera pan up?
I'm going to start with the simple things.
Okay.
You get like the child sides of Bill here.
Oh, f*** you! Come on!
Ah.
You live in a psycho bunker where 9/11 was an inside job and the government are all Nazis. The government are all Nazis! Paying attention to things. It's how we show love. Fixing up some of the shops.
Whoa.
Not the stupid ones, just the wine shop and the furniture store.
Wow.
Bill is just so particular about how everything is.
The boutique. Are we hosting formal garden parties now?
No. But we are going to have friends, and we will invite them to visit.
There are no friends to be had.
I've actually been talking to a nice woman on the radio.
Mm.
You what?
Ooh.
Well, this really is just...
Oh. Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, that is neat.
Well, can I just say, gun aside, which I get, by the way.
More Tess.
Smart way to bring her back.
I mean, I want to thank you.
He's got his hand on the gun the whole time.
You know what? Let's go inside. Tess, I want to show you something.
Oh, Bill's not like that.
Frank! Frank!
Songs.
Oh, we get some Bill Joel moment. Yeah, I love it.
He cocked his gun.
I understand. If mine brought strangers into our situation, I wouldn't be happy either.
Guess him and Tess never had a title.
There's stuff we have in the QZ that you don't have here. We can help each other and get that gun out of my face.
Smuggling.
That fence has got a year on it, tops. I can get you 10 spools of high tensile aluminum. Last you the rest of your lives.
This is awesome.
Oh, it's such a good expansion.
You should use codes for the radio in case anyone's listening.
Oh, that's a good idea. Like what?
Like, I was thinking, like...
There'll be raiders. They'll beat that fence and your tripwires. They'll come at night, quiet and armed.
We'll be fine.
Love Bill's history. Damn, I guess I never registered how long Tess and Joel had been together. Damn.
That's when the game started.
Just one more loop around. I got something to show you. Huh? Not that.
The first 2 weeks are always the hardest, Bill.
Oh, no way.
Oh!
I traded Joel and Tess one of your guns for a packet of seeds.
Which gun?
Shotgun?
A little one.
I love that laugh he gave.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Getting older faster than you.
I like you older.
I was never afraid before you showed up.
Oh.
No, you found the strawberries.
Yeah.
This shit's so touching.
Those fences aren't going to hold. Yep. Just like Joel said. Oh.
Whoa. Oh,
Bill's
damn,
already
Bill's
out and
already
ready.
Bill's ready.
Dude's like the Terminator.
Damn, this is a hell of a shot.
Got the Alejandra Inarritu shot. Get him, Bill.
Oh, man.
The rifle. No.
Get him in the leg? Oh, no.
Hold on to me. I got you.
They just got to patch it up. He'll be fine.
A lot of imagery kind of evoked the Seraphites.
I have copies of all the keys.
Good.
Yeah. Call Joel.
Damn.
You're here.
No. Call. No.
Ugh.
Man was never afraid, but was afraid to lose Frank.
It's getting cold. Okay. Let me bring you inside.
Is he in a wheelchair?
10 years.
Okay.
What's wrong with Frank? Really do a good job of aging them. Wow, it's such good makeup.
It's crazy. Guess he got older faster than Bill did.
Might have a disease or a sickness too. Oh well, wow.
Yeah.
Looks older too. Oh,
Well, the only friends they made were Joel and Tess.
what other friends do you need besides those two?
Yeah.
Did you take your pills?
Oh, no.
I say they can go to any pharmacy they want in town, I guess.
Or medicine from the QZ.
Little Whitey. Big Roundy.
I love how much time we're getting to spend with these characters. Oh.
The painting of him.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I just wasn't expecting such a touching story.
I knew we were going to get their backstory. I just didn't know it was going to be this emotional and this long. It's great.
I don't want you falling asleep in the chair. I'm not fighting about it. Back in
I
bed.
promise you I'm going to stay up.
Why?
Because this is my last day. I've made up my mind. Bill. Mm-mm. Come here. I'm not going to give you the every day was a wonderful gift from God speech. I have had a lot of bad days. But I've had more good days with you than with anyone else. Just give me one more good day. Starting now, make me some toast. You'll wear what I ask. We'll get married.
Oh.
And I will fall asleep in your arms.
I have so much snot going into my mouth.
Do you love me?
Yes.
Then love me the way I want you to.
Oh. I always imagined it would end like so angrily between them.
Thought they were going to have Joel and Tess as witnesses.
Nah, it was just for them. With the first meal he ever made?
Yeah.
Oh.
You got to get him the wine, too. He turned it, yep. Damn, the show is so touching.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm losing my shirt. This is snot going right in my mouth. Interesting.
Why are there already pills in the bottle?
Enough to kill a horse. This isn't the tragic suit at the end of the play. And you were my purpose.
Oh.
I do not support this.
I should be furious.
You're at the finish line.
But from an objective point of view, it's incredibly romantic. Take me to bed.
Sounds like music from the game.
These two killed it.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
Incredible.
They got great chemistry.
And like they played the aging wonderfully.
I love the inclusion of this music from the game. So poetic. Wow. That's incredible.
Flowers not being tended to.
Makes sense.
It's from Bill. To whomever, but probably Joel.
So clever.
So they're dead?
Wow.
I'm guessing you found this, Joel, because anyone else would have been electrocuted or blown up by one of my traps.
You wrote it all down.
Take anything you need. The bunker code is the same as the gate code, but in reverse.
Such a clue from a letter.
Yeah. Like a combination for the lock.
I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. There was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. Then I protected him.
You know what to do, Joel.
That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do. And God help any motherfucker who stand in our way. I leave you all of my weapons and equipment. Use them to keep...
Tess. Yep. Oh, boy. Just like when Bill crumbled the note.
Oh man, let it out.
It's easier to get than the game, huh?
Damn, he is such a shell of his former self. He can't even like cry over Tess.
I have a brother out in Wyoming. He's in some kind of trouble, and I'm heading out there to find him. He used to be a firefly. And my guess is he knows where some of them are out there. Maybe they can get you to wherever this lab is.
This Firefly just like Troy. Yeah.
Troy Baker, people.
If I'm taking you with me, there's some rules you gotta follow. Rule 1, you don't bring up Tess, ever.
Just like the game.
Matter of fact, we can just keep our histories to ourselves. Rule 2, you don't tell anyone about your condition. They see that bite mark, they won't think it through, they'll just shoot you.
That's true.
You do what I say when I say it.
Yep.
We clear?
Yes.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
What you say goes.
Straight out of the game. I love it.
So what now?
We grab what we can.
You know, you skip over so many different levels and they change so much, especially regarding the Bill. But
Yeah.
it does not bother me.
Yeah.
It is so effective what they've done instead.
I'm definitely. Well, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Dude,
No.
There's so many options.
there's a wall of them.
I'm right there with you.
Seriously, let her have one. There's even the small ones. Let her take a handgun. During a pandemic, you gotta have toilet paper.
I'm taking a shower. And then you're showering. Seriously.
Oh, he gets flashes of Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, her outfit. Look at that, man.
Yeah. Sneak it, Ellie.
You actually see her sneak it.
Well, don't you look pretty?
Shut up.
saw in a movie there were keys when you open the visor.
It's your first time in a car?
It's like a spaceship.
Spaceship! Love it.
Seatbelt.
Such a good reference.
She doesn't know.
Yeah, she's like, what's that?
Seatbelt.
This is so good. Might be the first person to say so cool to a seatbelt.
It's laying her right up front. Star-Lord.
Put it back. Ellie. Oh, no, wait.
Yeah.
Leave it. Oh, this is good. This is Linda Ronstadt.
Ha 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 ha.
You know I don't know who Linda Ronstadt is. It's better than nothing.
He just smile.
He's regaining his humanity.
I love this episode.
Oh, it's so good.
This to me is like, this is Last of Us, you know?
Oh, the shot of the window.
Yeah.
We won't spoil that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, boy. That did not feel like an hour and 15 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah,
This show is so well paced. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
That works for me on every level.
Yeah.
Every level. My eyes were just kind of watering up like every 10 minutes of that shit. Yeah, I'd be very curious to hear the conversation surrounding this one, but all we can do is talk from our hearts here. And yeah, I mean, like knowing the game, it definitely, there's so much different, right?
Yeah, way different.
I mean,
way different.
Yeah, like it sets up, and as fans of the game, it's an interesting viewing experience because like you're like, all right, well, so what happens? Like the briefest version that we can tell you in the game is like they're looking for the battery and then running into traps and stuff, and Bill is just like a hardened asshole. He is just the biggest asshole in the world. But they need to go through like all kinds. Like there's a whole like sneaking in. What is it? Sneaking to a not school in that.
They do go through a school.
It is a school in the mission.
At some point, they go through a school. Yes,
but they have to like go through all this crazy hoops and stuff and running over. It's gnarly, fun gameplay and everything. And Bill's awesome. And Bill and Ellie do not get along.
Oh, that's my favorite part. Is Bill and Ellie.
And that's probably as a gamer fan, I'm like that's probably the one part of it. I'm like, oh, I would have loved to have seen Ellie and Bill.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And then eventually they come across, you hear there's like a falling out with him and Frank, and then they come across when they're looking for a battery. They run into a house and
they see that Frank is hung up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Frank's already dead. You see Bill get him.
Could you try again?
Alexa was like,
whoa.
Like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, so you see Frank's dead. So you never meet Frank in the game, and they allude to a history that there was possibly something more to them than just, buddies. But it was very like macho the way how Bill comes across, right? And so imagine what you saw Bill like if you haven't played the game, what you saw Bill like at the beginning of this episode, and he's like a more senile, more rageful version of that, more emotionally resistant version of that.
Yeah.
Just like an older version. So watching this, I was like, okay, well, I'm expecting them to, when it does like the 3-year jump, like, all right, now we're watching when things started falling apart for them, basically.
Yes.
And you do set up an expectation, knowing the game, that they'll have a falling out. He's probably going to leave, and then maybe Bill's going to morph into that like bitter old man.
Yes.
And then after a while, I'm like, I don't think it's going down that path. Like I don't think they're gonna do that. And even with the drink, I was like, okay, maybe Frank picked up on that and switched the bottles around or something. Like I kept expecting Bill to live still, because I'm like, there's still so much with Bill and the battery, and we're going on a mission and everything. And they didn't do that. And yet it didn't leave me upset. It didn't leave me angry or like, why did you rob us of that? I can imagine, I have no idea. obviously have no idea what people think of this episode yet. But I can imagine that there will be a camp that is really bummed out by that. And for me, I found myself like, no, I thought what they decided to do for this show and this narrative, it made it more emotional and poignant and gave Bill a thorough character arc. And even when you land on the letter by the end, which, like in the game, dead people are always leaving letters. And so
The combination
even
lock
Frank
or
left the
something.
letter.
Yeah. Well,
in the game. Yeah. So but I like that when you finally get this letter, it's a very like emotional moment. And I just thought it was like this beautiful story of this couple in the apocalypse. Like I've had a short story in mind that kind of was like the last 5 minutes of their story, a short film in mind. It was like a zombie story. So watching it take place and he never got infected, but how they just grew old together, and watching Bill, this man, change over time into a person who learned to let people in and learn to care, and even leaving a letter for like Joel at the end that was so open and welcoming and supportive, and you could have whatever you want, was like, oh, I think this is perfect for the story they're choosing to tell, and how it motivates Joel to, when he's reading the letter, like, okay, I got to apply whatever Bill learned, and I got to adopt this for Ellie right now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like do they skip over a bunch? Do they completely change and eliminate a bunch? Oh yeah, they do. But emotionally, to me, that's what has made this game so resonant. It's not so much like clickers and all that. It's like, it's really fun. The gameplays and all that. It's like, of course, that's a big part of the game. But what's made it so strong, the game experience, is this heart, this sadness, yet this bittersweet and melancholic expressions. That's what has made the Last of Us story so beautiful, and why it's resonated for so long. So while I can miss like watching gameplay stuff come to life, I think they replaced it with stuff that is so much more powerful for this live action visual medium. And I know I went off on a tangent there. Sorry, Andrew.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I got so much to say now. No. I agree with a lot of what you said. Absolutely. Look, there might be some gamers, and look, I'd say, like, from a gamer perspective, there was definitely a subversion of expectations for sure in this episode. Like when you see like the 3 years later and you see them start arguing, like, here it comes, the destruction of their relationship and what happens. Because again, really quickly, to what Greg alluded to in the game, basically what happened is Bill is so set in his ways. He's so like, he's like basically a homer. He doesn't want to leave, doesn't want to do anything. And Frank wants to explore and do other things. And that's kind of why he leaves him. And so that's a big part of the falling out of the relationship. And he gets infected, and that's why he hangs himself. So, we start to see a little bit of that, but again, we get that subversion of expectations. But it didn't bother. The only thing that, I wouldn't say bothered. I know I use this word a lot, but I was just saddened by that we didn't get to see Bill and Ellie. But you know what? I get that in the game. So
it's more of
fun.
like a wish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, I get that in the game, so it's not that in the world. But because it's so, again, like I've said in the first 2 episodes, I don't mind if you make changes as long as it's done in a satisfying way and it moves the plot forward in an interesting way. And I thought they did that really well in this episode. Like the chemistry between Nick Offerman, and I apologize for not knowing the actor's name who plays Frank, they're phenomenal together. Like that.
They were incredible.
Like watching that whole thing, and I love the way too. Like in the first 2 episodes, how we watched the prologue at the beginning, just explaining, how the cordyceps disease, kind of just giving the backstory of that, which was done brilliantly. I call it like is it Murray Bartlett? Is that his name, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Murray Bartlett. Him and Nick Offerman, they were great together. But I know we talked about in the first 2 episodes the prologues, which again explain the cordyceps infection, the backstory, fantastic, and we get the midlog, if you will, here in this episode. Which again, I love linear storytelling when it's done right, and in this episode, it was done beautifully, and I love watching that relationship. And even though again it's totally different from the game, when I replay the game now, I'm going to have this whole backstory of Frank. And again, even though there's some changes here and there, I'm going to have a backstory of their relationship now, of like how they met and the bond that they formed with each other. And I really love too, you mentioned it at the beginning, like we did get to see that hardened Bill at the beginning, like, you know, just how like he's very untrustworthy. He doesn't want anyone touching his stuff.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch the piano. Don't touch that's my mom. That's Bill. Like, for people who've never played the game, that's Bill right there to a T. I mean, not as heightened as you would say as he gets in the game, not as senile.
In the game, he's like way louder.
It's
he's
like, and we got to
aggressive.
give props to W. Earl Brown in the game. He's awesome in the game. I love him as Bill in the game. But Nick Offerman freaking nailed it in this episode. It was so. Again, I love the emotional balance that these two brought with each other, him and Murray Bartlett. They were just so good together. I mean, I was so emotionally invested. But I love that they chose to do this whole the whole montage of spending time with these characters. Like, if you would have told me before this episode, there's going to be barely any infected in this episode, there's going to be barely any action in this episode, it's going to be more of a Bill and Frank-centric episode, I'm like, all right, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. I don't know if that's going to work, but seeing the way it was executed, I mean, it was flawlessly done. And also, we'd be remiss to mention, too, I love the stuff at the beginning, the character moments we got with Ellie and Joel.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
I love how it's bookended by Ellie and Joel.
Yeah.
Like the beginning you're with them, and then at the very end you get this experience. And yeah, when they check back in, I'm like, it really, you know I've been loving the show, but this was the first episode out of the 3 that was so much more different than the game.
Yes.
And not emotionally, not thematically.
Story-wise.
But story-wise and seeing like a whole bunch you just don't get in the game. Seeing just so like most of this is not in the game, right? Yeah. And then when you do check back with Ellie and Joel, I like that's when I was like, I know I love this show. Like it really hit me in like in a very different way of, yeah, this is something truly special.
And I also really love that they were able to include Tess back into it as well, like just showing that. Yeah, oh, I forgot all about that. But no, just getting Tess back.
The makeup on Tess is so
was
good,
good.
because I'm like, wait a minute, does this actress look like how she does in 2023 or 2013? Like,
yeah, no, for sure. That was great. And that was, I mean, I love that they had that communication between Frank and Tess. And it makes sense. Like, even though we live in a they live in a post-apocalyptic world, Frank wants to have a semblance of normalcy, you know, because they do live in a house where they do feel a little bit normal, but it's still a post-apocalyptic world. So hey, let's have some friends over. Let's feel a little bit normal in this crazy, psychotic post-apocalyptic world. I love that. That was a really good touch.
Yeah.
And we did get alluded to that in the video game. Again, obviously, for those of you who've played the game, you already know this, but for those of you who don't, Bill and Joel, they know each other. They smuggle together. They work together, and Tess as well. So it's nice to actually see that history form out a little bit. And again, now you have a little bit of that history formed out on television for you when you didn't in the game. So again, stuff that gets expanded upon, just really smart decision making. I mean, I love this show so much. It's so good.
Yeah, this was in some ways, you know, there's an element of it that. Because it just hit me. I know, because that's the thing is, you know, when like Tess die, I'm so used to, like, I've seen Sarah die so many times in the video game that I got my like, yeah, sure, I get like emotional watching it, but I'm not like, wow, I am taken aback. Or like Tess dying, I'm like, oh wow, they're really doing this, and I'm really feeling this, and like, oh, look at the change. I'm like absorbed in a lot of different thoughts because I know the game so well. But this was such a different experience, and I was like taken aback when I was like, oh, Bill's gonna die before he even meets Ellie. That's surprising. Like, because he doesn't even die in the game.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, no, it was interesting,
and it was an interesting choice, and I am in awe of the experience that this particular episode brought. That it shined a different light, and I'm very curious to see if this episode does get like a significant amount of backlash for such a drastic change. But I'm telling you, someone who's played that game and really remembers the experiences with Bill and the back and forth with Joel and Ellie especially, this did not bother me whatsoever. we do miss out on some good game levels that were pretty awesome. There's some scary stuff.
Yeah,
So,
no, for sure.
And
But
it's fun when you're teamed up with him.
yeah, and it was so poetic too, seeing the whole Romeo and Juliet suicide at the end. I mean, so poetic. And too, I love the just a little reference too from the game where Joel crumples up the note. That's basically when Bill found the note that Joel gave him that said Frank wrote a note very similar to how Bill, what Bill did there. And it was very similar. And then Bill crumpled up the note and said the F word, F you, Frank. And yeah, it was a nice little touch. There were so many awesome touches. And then they included some really cool moments of music from Gustavo Santaolalla. I hope I said that right this time, guys. But
I love the spaceship line.
oh yes, we flipped out
can't.
over that. Yeah,
We won't tell
we won't go into that, people. We don't want to spoil because we've been accused of spoiling a lot already.
Most of the second game, they're flying in a spaceship.
Yes. All right. Greg spoiled it,
They
guys.
go to Mars and Jupiter and Neptune.
Exactly.
They're
and,
just
and when they get
zipping across
and
the
when they get to
galaxy.
Mars, they meet Doug Quaid, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from Total Recall.
I'm in control of these edits. Whatever, I only keep the things that it's like if we're saying something that's going to happen, like that's only because it happens in the
Yeah,
episode. And you
seriously.
guys have
We're not
already
gonna
watched the episode.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about things that happen in the future.
We're not
Yeah.
we're not gonna spoil things for you guys who have not played the video games. Don't worry, like we
Yeah.
wouldn't do that to you. Only Greg. I'm just kidding. But no, and yeah, this was a great episode.
Yeah,
but
someone might be like, they got excited at this. I didn't even play the games. And I'm like, well, what is us getting excited tell you?
yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, yeah, okay, we got excited. I'm sorry.
Like, what information do you have to go off?
He
of
got
that?
excited.
That
He
mean-
spoiled it.
They go zipping around fighting aliens and going to Star Wars. What's going on?
But to your point, I really am curious what from the game, because I know from the non-casual fan, I know this episode is going to be very is going to fare well for sure.
Yeah.
I am curious from the gamer's perspective because you and I are hardcore fans of this, as you all know. And we really enjoyed this episode and didn't mind the changes. Yeah, I was a little bit sad, and then because I love me some Bill and Ellie. I got to tell you, if you have not played the games, just go watch the cutscenes of Bill and Ellie. That is damn entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
They're damn good. W. Earl Brown and Ashley Johnson have some damn good lines together and chemistry together. But again, the way it's done here, I get it. I get why they made the changes, and it didn't bother me. And I still have that version of the game. So it is what it is. You know what? Would it have been cool if they did that? Sure. But with what we got here, with how the quality of what we got here, with the relationship of these two and how damn emotionally invested I was, it didn't bother me. Like if you would have told me this before the episode and I hadn't seen a thing, I would have said, what?
Yeah.
But after having viewed it and in the immersive, incredible experience we just got, it doesn't bother me as much. But I'm curious to see what other hardcore gamers that love this that love the video game think. I'm really curious.
I mean, I think that when it comes to this particular tale that they told, it felt like they told a romance, or like a romance during the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And when they first kissed and you see like they're both crying, like that's the first moment where I was like, wow, this is really affecting me, because these are like two, man, I'm just like thinking back on it, I'm getting emotional again.
Yeah.
And because they're so lonely, like you, and that's the quality that I was capturing, is this lonesome experience. And I loved seeing how Bill first took such joy in the isolation. Like, this is everything I wanted. I hate people. And now I get to have this all to myself. But then you see over time, it does grow weary, and he grows solemn.
Yeah.
And then when they find each other, good thing Frank's gaydar was activated.
Well,
I know.
Yeah.
and when they kiss, and then the way they're connecting to each other, like they found intimacy, and they found something that could be special, and they could survive together. And to find love in a situation where finding love seems impossible.
Right.
Like, even for Tess and Joel, like, it's interesting to juxtapose them together, because I didn't really register.
How many years?
Yeah, like, oh, wow, look, they didn't even have gray hair when they first knew each other. And then Joel's so hardened and so afraid of connection.
Yeah.
Which understandably so, but he's so afraid and so opposed to it that nothing can even bring him to tears about Tess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but damn, you guys have been like together for a long time.
Yeah.
And he can't even say to like they couldn't even establish a title between each other. Like that's too much for them. And I like that nuance between. He couldn't even say that's my girlfriend. He can't even call her that. You know.
Yeah. He didn't really give it a position,
a
of
label.
the relationship,
Yeah.
label. Yeah, but we're not Facebook official, so I can't say anything. Yeah, but
We're
no,
exclusive, but
yeah,
you know.
exactly. No, but what also I loved about Bill in this episode as well is it wasn't just a character arc, it was an emotional arc as well. And those are my favorite kind of arcs when you can combine the two, because that's where you get something really powerful. And Nick Offerman, I mean, damn. That was it. Damn.
He was perfect.
Yeah, no, when I heard Nick Offerman was going to be, I was like, I could see him as Bill. And then we saw the trailer, I was like, okay, he looks like Bill. He looks like Bill.
The second I heard Nick Offerman, I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
That was the one. That was the first one I heard where I was like, perfect.
I didn't say perfect, but I said I could see him.
Yeah.
I can see him as Bill. But then when we saw the trailer in the first look, I was like, okay, he looks like Bill. I mean, I haven't heard any line, but he looks like Bill. Then when I watched this episode, I was like, all right, he's Bill.
Yeah.
He's Bill.
Well, the one they had to really sell you on too was Frank. Because I mean they're both new characters. Gamer, non-gamer. If you didn't play the game, it's like the brand new. Both are brand new characters, but like for gamer fans especially, it was like, all right, let's get to know Frank. And I liked how. I do love that they actually really heavily leaned into the romance between them, and they found ways of keeping it very masculine, but keeping it also soft at the right times. You know what I mean? Not to say that masculinity should not encompass being soft. So they found like wonderful nuance and ways to complement each other, and you see why they were a perfect match.
Yeah,
Why they were a good yin and yang.
Absolutely. And also, too, last thing I want to mention, I love that we got to see Ellie get her first infection kill in terms of, I believe it was a stalker that we saw her
Was
kill.
it a stalker?
I believe it was a
I don't
stalker.
think like a fully formed one yet. What stage is stalker again?
Stalker is stage 2.
All right. Okay. Runner, stalker, clicker.
So
No,
there's
no.
runner,
Runner,
stalker,
there's
clicker, shambler. If you're in, is that spoiler? You can edit that out. And then the B word we won't say, and then there's the RK word we won't say. Sorry, I don't know how to not spoil this.
I thought what were the one in the game when they.
Which game are we talking
In the
about?
first game, when they made changes, but when he's like in the hotel underground trying to turn on like the elevator, I think he's trying to turn on the elevator or something. Not the elevator. He's trying to turn something on. Joel.
It's those are stalkers.
But like you see how in here, I can tell they're stalkers by what I call by their mohawk in the eye.
When one eye is blind like that,
But
means they're close to clicker stage. That's a stalker.
Okay. I guess I've never noticed with the stalkers that their eye, that they have one normal functioning eye. I think in both games, I don't think I've ever noticed
Oh,
that.
yeah, for sure. What game
I'm
you been playing?
Too busy scared.
What
and being
game
like,
you been
"Kill
playing,
them."
man? You sure you
I'm
played?
Not,
No,
I'm trying to get a good look of the stalkers.
He was playing
face.
Silent Hill. He wasn't playing Last
I'm
of
not
Us.
taking in the designs of
He was
of
playing
them
Resident Evil.
because I'm so focused on surviving in the moment that I'm not taking in the designs. Yeah, I think you just taught me. So I think I just realized I've never taken in the designs of the creatures because I'm always like, just kill them and get it over with.
Paul from Heavy Spoilers, you're not the only one who can edumacate. See, buddy?
Yeah, man. Very
But
true.
you are great. I do enjoy your channel, dude.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
This episode was so good.
This is amazing.
This show is so good.
And you see, like, the one that's more fresh in my mind is Last of Us 2 because it's the one I more recently played. But like one thing that I mentioned this when I think we were this is when the reaction to Paul's video, Heavy Spoilers video, was when you break perspective and you see when you see Ellie snatch the gun. Like that happens in the game, but you don't see that happen. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks for being here. What did you think about this episode of The Last of Us? Thanks to G Fuel for sponsoring this video. And also, leave a like, subscribe, keep a lookout for John Terra's reaction coming later this week.